card share for you using the August 2018 Hero Arts My Monthly Hero kit. I apologize for the delay in this one. If you follow my channel, you will know that we moved in the beginning of September, so I'm pretty much a month plus behind on everything due to having had my craft area packed up, unfortunately, in mid-August. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk about the kit first. This is the kit that was available in August. I'm going to have this linked down below. However, the kit is sold out. You will not be able to purchase it from Hero Arts. You can check on eBay or just online to see if anybody is selling their kit. But this kit will not be restocked at Hero Arts, which is unfortunate. It was a really nice kit. I had a blast with this kit. I made a ton of cards over the course of a few weeks. You'll see when we get to the card share. All of these gorgeous stamps having to do with coffee. You could make them tea themed as well. Most of these sentiments are coffee centric, but there's a couple that could be tea, you know, a cup of joy, your sweet, take a break. So you could kind of make it tea-ish if you'd like. However, it is pretty coffee focused, and I love coffee personally, so I took them to the coffee level. I maxed out on the caffeine. So you get this very large, gorgeous 6x8 stamp set on the kit, and you also got the coordinating dies for all of the image, and you got this large fancy window die as well. I didn't use this die on any of my cards because I was having a hard time getting it to go through my Cuttlebug. I have an older Cuttlebug, and it has been slowly dying. It tends to not want to cut anything that's large or intricate. So unfortunately, I didn't really get a chance to play with this one. My hope is that I'm going to be upgrading in early 2019. Maybe Santa will bring me another die cut machine. So I'm not super concerned about that. I have seen, if you're interested, you go online or you can Google what other people have done with this die. Gorgeous stuff. It just wasn't going to be for me this time. Anyway, but I didn't have any issues with any of the other dies. So also what came in this kit, in addition to the stamp and dies, you got a crystal clear lacquer pen, as they're calling it, which I believe is, if it not is literally, then it is pretty close to glossy accents. It worked that way for me. I've been using it as glossy accents. You'll see I used it on a card or two. So you'll see. We also included something called white puff embossing powder, which is like sort of a thick, coarse white embossing powder, and I used that on a couple of cards. You get to see that as well. And a couple of pieces of coffee and tea hand-dyed decorative paper, which I also did use. And the kit did come bundled with some ribbon, and I believe I did use the ribbon up on that as well. As with all of the Hero Arts kits, you have the option to purchase some add-ons. Their releases that month. The releases for August were also hot beverage themed. I did get one add-on. I don't normally do add-ons. This one was too cute to resist. It's this small little kitty stamp and die cut. Now their stamp and die cut sets are a small stamp set that comes with the coordinating dies, and it's a really good price point. It's only $15 for the whole thing. So I went ahead and splurged and did an add-on with this one. I'm not super huge into tea, but I have friends that are into tea, and I have lots of friends that are into kitty cats, including me. So this is adorable. And in fact, I made a birthday card for my own mother using this set because my mother has, in the past couple of years, she used to be a big coffee drinker, and her doctor made her switch to tea. So now she's finding that she prefers tea a lot more. So now my mother is a tea freak, so I made my own mother a card with this, and you'll see that in a minute. And I will have the add-ons linked down below, or when you go to look at the kit, that's sold out. Just scroll a little bit further down and you'll see where all the add-ons are available. And again, this is called the Kitty Stamp and Die Cut, and I'll have this linked down below as well. Very cute. So let's go ahead and get started. I think this is probably, for me anyway, the most prolific kit that I've had yet. I just could not stop pumping out different cards. I still had a couple of more card ideas in my little notebook, but I'm so far behind on things that I need to get done. I'm going to go ahead and set this kit aside in favor of the September Hero Arts kit, which I haven't even cracked open yet as of this filming. So here we go with the card share. So this first one that I have to show you is that birthday card that I made for my mother using the kitty here. And I used this sentiment here, have a terrific birthday. It's her birthday. My mother's favorite color, I mean, in addition to kitties, her favorite colors are red and peach, the color peach. She loves at Christmas time those peach blossom candies, is what they're called. And I think they're from Necco, and you can only get them at Christmas time. They come in a tin. They're sort of like this peach colored, and they're filled with peanut butter. She loves them. I think that they're disgusting. She loves them. So it's sort of this long-running joke in our family that we can't wait for the Christmas candy to start coming out, because we all get her at least a can or two of the peach blossoms to help her last all year. So she loves red. She loves the color peach. I wanted to incorporate red and peach into the card for her, and of course I also wanted to incorporate this kitty and the tea, because as I've mentioned, she loves tea. She also loves kitties, and most of her kitties that are currently still living are gray tiger kitties. So I did some very basic coloring on this kitty with my Spectrum Noir markers, and in fact I did film myself when I was making this one, and I'll probably turn it into a process video, whether or not it ever airs or it goes up before or after this. I don't know, but if you are interested, I do have footage of this. It's just a very basic card. Basically, I just filmed it because I wanted some more practice editing the video, and not necessarily that I think that I came up with anything super spectacular here, or a technique to show anybody new. But I did have a lot of fun making this, and I did make it with my mother in mind. I used some Distress Oxide smooshing with water on watercolor paper in the background here to try to get the peach color, using a couple of different colors of Distress Oxide. I almost came close. And then of course some watercolor painting with Distress Oxides, using some of the flowers from the kit here. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I had some really fun holographic paper scraps that I used for the matting here that I thought was fun. And of course some sequins for a little sparkle. I had a lot of fun with this one. I actually have to get it into the mail tomorrow. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this video right now. Is because I need to get this in the mail for my mom, because it's her birthday. So that was the card that I have to show you with the kitty, and the rest of them are from the kit here. And like I said, I had an absolute blast with them. Also, one of the weeks when I was working with this kit, I was also working with the Sunny Studios fall release. So I had their gorgeous new, I'm trying to see if I have it out still, I do. I had their gorgeous new paper packs available on my desk, and I had a lot of scraps for my Sunny Studio projects to work with. So I used some scraps from the Sunny Studio paper packs to pull together a couple of these cards, which I thought was fun. Here's a Life Begins After Coffee. Just a very basic card. But really colorful and really pretty. I love the color combinations on this paper. It really does make the whole thing. I did start out with all of the images. I stamped them out with VersaFine Black Onyx ink, and I clear heat embossed them on watercolor paper because I wanted to use my Tombow dual brush markers for a little watercoloring. So that is all of the images here, and I think I stamped them all out 2 or 3 times so that I would have tons of different little coffee cups and stuff to work with and piece together on different cards. And then I die cut them all, and then I kind of looked at them and built my cards from there. I did white heat emboss, and I used regular embossing powder because I forgot about that puff. What do they call it? I have to look up because I've already forgot. Oh, I forgot about the white puff embossing powder when I did this. So I used regular white embossing powder on this one. But I did use the puff on a couple of the cards, you'll see. Just to put kind of the foam art or whatever. I don't even, I've never even had one of those super fancy drinks at a coffee place. So I don't really, I've seen them on TV. I don't really know what to call the kind of the art here in the foam, but I did stamp and white heat emboss that, and here's the sentiment as well. Very basic card, but very fun. I think I'm going to send that to a friend. Also using that paper, we have You're the Cream in My Coffee. And I put a little whipped cream on the top here. This is just a little bit of watercoloring, but it's not anything too fancy, but I thought that I loved the way that the colors came out on this cup, so I thought I kind of pulled everything together a little bit. And the polka dots are amazing. And then the last one, using some of that Sunny Studio scraps that I had, I have the You're Sweet And I think that this could also be hot cocoa in a mug. I mean, you could look at it that way. It could be hot cocoa or it could be coffee sitting in a mug, and more of that gorgeous paper. And then the next little batch here, the backgrounds on the next little batch of cards are that coffee and tea hand-dyed decorative paper that came with the kit. And actually, if you put it, I have a cold right now, so I can't smell anything. And I'm sorry for my scratchy voice. When I was feeling better, you can definitely smell the coffee and the tea in the paper, which is really interesting. And it's kind of, you know, when you get paper wet, it kind of, and then it dries, it kind of has that crinkled quality to it. This paper was a lot of fun to work with, and I found the opposite. If you flip the paper over, one side of the paper had kind of a very light impression with the dye, and then you'd flip it over, and it would be like the, you know, the embossed side would be a lot darker. So you've got the debossed and the embossed side, the light or the dark. So I got to kind of choose, and I got a little bit more stretch from that paper, having those choices with the prints. So here's another one that could be coffee or hot cocoa, and this one just says World's Best Friend. And I put some gold ribbon that I had. I thought that would be fun. And then, of course, just some Nouveau drops to decorate that one. This one, again, more of that paper, and 2 coffee cups, and I heat embossed We're the Perfect Blend. Now with these coffee cups, and I don't know if it'll pick up here, but I used the lacquer pen, the glossy accents-ish stuff, and I covered the cups, just the cups, not the coffee, on the cups, so that they would have kind of like a little shine to them. I wanted to see how, basically it was an experiment to see how it would dry over the heat embossing. And it looks okay, but I do like how it's shiny. It kind of looks like an actual ceramic mug. And then, of course, some of the ribbon that came holding the kit together, I used that up because it's just such a pretty color brown. And some more Nouveau drops. And here's another one. The sentiment says, espresso yourself, which I thought was a riot. A lot of fun. I have like an iced cold drink here, and I used the straw from the kit. There was no dye for the straw, so I just fussy cut that one out. A couple of little drops here to accent it. Really cute. And the last one with the hand-dyed paper, and this one is But First Coffee. This card, like, everybody needs this card. I'm wondering if I might actually, I don't normally display my own work in my work area, but I might hang this up as kind of like an inspirational poster for me in the morning. And again, I used some more of that ribbon, and then I put on top of the ribbon, I just wanted to see how it would dry. I put little drops of Nouveau drops all the way around it. Not really, it's not a scientifically measured spacing or anything. I was just having fun. Again, I just wanted to see how it would dry. That's how I come up with stuff. And excuse me, I'm so sorry. Come up with stuff and learn new techniques or whatever as I just play with it. So guess what? It will dry on top of polyester satin ribbon. Okay, so this next card is a little bit different than all the rest. And this one was watercolored using Distress Oxide inks on watercolor paper. And I did do a process video for this one. And again, I'm not sure if it's going up before or after this video, but if you're definitely interested, keep an eye out for it. I made this card for my husband to slip into his lunchbox. And the sentiment says, love you more than coffee. And I used masking techniques to do this one. And this is that the white puff embossing powder that I was talking about. So there's a little bit of texture on the whipped creams on top of a couple of these beverages here. I had a lot of fun doing this one. This was really fun. So this is all, it's matted, but it's a one layer card. I practiced my masking, which is not something that I do a lot of, and I did have a lot of fun. Anyway, so little card for my husband. And the last batch? Yeah, this is the last batch here. So this last batch, I also had a lot of fun with pattern paper and also making some of my own backgrounds. And I got a little crazy, guys. And I used some stencils. I did some stenciling. So here are the stencils that I used. This first one here is this kind of, we've seen this one before. This is the iced beverage with the straw and the whipped cream on the top. And this one says, sending you a latte love. And I put a little decorative silver decorative thing on the cup here. A couple of Nuvo drops. This background paper, what was that from? Here it is. The background paper is from this 6x6 Echo Park paper pad called A Perfect Autumn by Lori Whitlock. I love the oranges and the sort of mint greens in here. Love them. Anyway, so that is the background paper here, and this background here is something that I inked myself with Distress Oxide inks on top of Bristol Smooth cardstock. And I used this is a dilution stencil that I've had in my stash, and I used that, and actually I don't know if you can even tell on camera here, but I used a couple different shades of brown. I think this is antique linen and gathered twigs maybe blended together to do kind of like a two-tone thing. This kind of looked like leaves to me, which is why I grabbed it. I thought it was nice in fall. This was a lot of fun doing this one here. And this next one is also stenciled and some background paper. And for this background paper, I used a piece of paper from the new Nitpicky Fall paper pack from Lawn Fawn. This one right here, actually, the knit here, the knit print. And I used kind of lavender colors on this one, and the sentiment is thanks whole latte. And I've white heat embossed with that white puff powder, another one of those artwork thingies in the foam of the drink. And let's see, I have to look up, I used Shaded Lilac for the background inking on this one. And this stencil I've had in my stash, I believe this came from a Hero Arts kit, and I want to say it's last December 2017. This fun sort of star background. Unfortunately, I didn't label it before I put it in my stash of stencils. What I've been doing lately is if I still have the packaging for a stencil, I'll store it in the packaging and then put it in my stencil. That way I don't forget what it is. So far I haven't come up with a better way to store my stencils. Anyway, that's a whole other side story. So then that's the stenciling that I did on this one. And all of these cards, by the way, are propped up with a little foam. I have a ton of foam that I'm trying to use up. So. Okay, and speaking of Kindred Art stencils, I have new from their August line. This is their swirl stencil, and I used that for the background here. And I think I used Mermaid Lagoon Blue because it looked really awesome with the coloring that I had done on the cup here. And this is another piece of background paper. I think it's from the Lori Whitlock Autumn set that I just showed you a few minutes ago. A couple of drops of Nuvo drops. I really like this one. And the sentiment here is coffee is always a good idea. And the last one, I used another Kindred Stamp stencil, which is new to me, and this is their stars. It's got a couple different sizes of stars. And another piece of paper from Nitpicky. And this one is Cracked Pistachio ink, because I thought it looked nice with the coloring on the mug. And the sentiment here is a hug in a mug. And a lot of my heat embossing is either, I have it right here next to me, it's either the Nuvo embossing powder or it's Ranger embossing powder. Just depends on what I had on hand at the time. It did take me maybe a good 2 to 2.5 weeks to do all these cards. So I would kind of just, pick up a little bit and do a little bit here and there. So that's why I have different batches of cards. Whatever I was working on or whatever I was in the mood for that minute is what I was, is how something ended up where it did. So anyway, so I have a ton. I think I counted like 13 different cards with this kit. I had a blast. I'm really sorry if you weren't able to get your hands on one, but like I said, check eBay to see if somebody has a kit that they no longer want if you're interested. It's a really great kit, especially for fall. And if all else fails, Lawn Fawn did come out with, in their fall line, they did come out with a hot beverage themed set as well. It's not nearly as big and it doesn't have as many sentiments, but it's still a really nice set. And it's worth looking into. I'm sorry this was so long, guys. We had a lot to go through, but I appreciate your sticking with me and spending some time with me. And thanks for your support. I hope that you've enjoyed and you have been inspired, and I will talk to you later. Bye!